Hello, beautiful people. It's another lovely day, another beautiful day. Happy to be alive, happy to experience even one more day. And it's really hot outside, really humid, but I don't know, I prefer days like these because I don't really like when it rains and it's all wet outside and stuff like that. And then I gotta come out here and film these videos after. So I'm really grateful for that. Hopefully y'all are doing well. Hopefully y'all are taking care of yourselves. Hopefully, you are taking the time to be present in your lives as much as possible and really just living because every day is truly a blessing. And every time you get to experience even one more day, it is truly a blessing. Now, I don't know, the sun is literally coming from that direction, so the best lighting is probably right here. But I don't want to stay in the sun, so I'm probably going to come over here for a minute, just stay out of the sun for a minute. But today I wanted to talk about something very important, right? Something that I think affects a lot of people, something that I probably struggled with as well for a little bit. And what I wanted to talk about today was the consequences of blaming others for your life situation, right? At some point in our lives, a lot of us were burnt and hurt by people, right? It might even go as far back as our own parents. Maybe we had parents who weren't the most supportive. Maybe we had parents who were abusive. Maybe we had parents who neglected us, abandoned us, right? Or it could be later in life when we meet people who we trusted, people who we put our faith in, and they betrayed us, right? And maybe did something to us. Or maybe it could even be a relationship, a past relationship with someone that was abusive, someone that cheated, someone that did something to us, right? And because of that experience, we spend a lot of years. Oh damn, it's like I don't know what that is. We spent a lot of years of our lives blaming our life situation, blaming the way our life currently is on that person, right? No, I don't want to negate anyone's experience. I don't want to come on this video and say, oh, what that person did was okay or what that person did was right, right? That's not what I'm trying to say or what I want to say on this video. Because I think we have the right to feel how we feel. We have the right to, experience those emotions, and that's okay, right? I never try to negate anyone's experience. But it gets to a point in which we spend so much our lives blaming that person, blaming that situation, blaming those experiences, and we sort of begin to allow our lives to pass us by. And see, blaming people for your situation, blaming people for the way your life is dangerous and unproductive for one reason. And that one reason is that whenever you attribute blame and responsibility for your life situation on someone else, you're giving away your power. You're giving the power away that you should be reclaiming in order to change your life. That's the biggest reason, or that's the biggest reason why you shouldn't blame your life situation on anyone, regardless of whatever happened, regardless of what that person did, regardless of anything else. The biggest reason why you shouldn't give someone the responsibility, give someone the power, right, as to why your life is the way it is because you take away the power that you're supposed to have to change your life. See, what I need you guys to understand is this, right? Power and responsibility go hand in hand, right? Take for example, let's say a person is a CEO of a company. That person has power, but that person also has responsibility, right? Because if anything was to happen to the company, that person would be the one that is responsible, right? That person would be the one that takes all the blame or has to take all the blame, so on and so forth, right? So power and responsibility go hand in hand, right? So whenever you say um the way your life is how it is because of someone else, you're literally giving them the power. Whenever you give them the responsibility, you're giving them the power. And no one can come into your life and change your life. No one cannot come into your life and fix your life. No one can come into your life and change your life. Even that person that did you wrong, they cannot come into your life and make any change to your life, right? Your life is your life. You're the one living your life. You're the one experiencing your life, right? So the best thing you can do, even if it hurts, the best thing you can do, even if you still carry some of that pain within, right, is to look at your life and accept responsibility for the way your life is, right? I know that's something that's hard for a lot of us. I know that's something that's very hard, right? Because you look back at that situation, you look back at that person's actions, and you say to yourself, why did that person did what they did? Why did this person abandon me? Why did this person cheated on me? Why did this person, you know, say those things to me? Why did that person act in the manner in which they acted, right? But the truth is that it doesn't even matter why they did what they did. It doesn't truly matter why that person did what they did, right? And the truth of the matter is it already happened. It's in the past. You can't go back and you can't change it. So why dwell on it? Why try to figure out the reason, right? Isn't it better to be in the moment? Isn't it better to look at your life and say to yourself, in this moment in time, I have the power to change my life. The power is in my hands to influence and change my life. And I was sort of thinking about forgiveness the other day from a different lens. I don't even know if you guys can see me properly. I was thinking about forgiveness the other day from a different lens, right? And very often when we mention forgiveness, we sort of look at forgiveness from, a way of letting things go, right? And we look at forgiveness as a way of healing, right? I've made videos when I talk about forgiveness as a way of healing. But I was thinking about forgiveness from a different lens the other day. And I was thinking that forgiveness is a major way of reclaiming your power. When you look at a situation, when you think back of a person that did you wrong, and you say to yourself, I'm going to forgive this person. I'm not going to forgive them out of the mindset or the idea that what they did was right, but I'm going to forgive them because I can't allow or I can't continue to allow this person to have power over my life. When you look back at a situation or a person that did you wrong, and you say to yourself, I'm going to forgive them because forgiveness is the only way I can reclaim my power. I can't go on and allow them to take up space in my mind. I can't go on and allow them to, you know, hold power over the way I'm living, hold power over my life, right? So therefore, I'm forgiving this person because I know that the only way to move forward is to reclaim my power, right? That's one of the biggest reasons why forgiveness is such an important thing. As long as you go on through life and you sort of, you know, carry so much resentment and anger towards a person, you're giving them way too much power over you. As long as you go through life and, as you say to yourself, this person is the way I am, right? Or this person is the way my life is. You don't even realize how much power you're giving them, right? You're allowing one person, maybe two, maybe three, whoever knows, right? You're allowing one person or a few persons to keep you stuck in your life. You're allowing one person or a few persons to be the reason why you can't move forward in your life, right? And that's one of the worst things you can possibly do. So when you forgive, when you say, I'm forgiving that person, it's not so much that you're validating what they did, It's more so that you're reclaiming your power back, right? You're claiming everything back that you allowed them, because it is allowing, right? Whenever situations happen, you know, a situation by itself is to some degree um an experience, right? But I think in the moment it hurts, in the moment, you know, he has no choice but to hurt. But I think very often it's how we allow ourselves to perceive the experience after it happened that changes the way in which we go through life, right? Let's say someone cheated on you, for example. In the moment, that's going to hurt. But very often, I think we sort of replay the experience time after time in our minds, right? We we replay the experience and we say to ourselves, why did this person did what they did? Why did this person feel the need to cheat on me? Am I not worthy enough? Am I not good enough? Maybe I don't have any worth, right? The way we tell ourselves or the stories we tell ourselves about the experience to some degree or to a large extent influences how we experience or how we sort of show up to life after that experience, right? So when you allow yourself to change your perception, when you allow yourself to change the way you see the experience, that's when you truly regain your power. That's when you truly take back your power, right? As long as you keep telling yourself the same old story, as long as you keep seeing the experience through the same lens, then you're only continuing to perpetuate the internal suffering. You're only continuing to perpetuate, the feelings and the emotions that you experience. So one of the best things you can do is to reframe the story to reclaim your life. Reframe the story to move forward. Reframe the story to retake your power. That's really one of the best things you can do, right? It's about not allowing the experience to define you and giving definition to that experience, right? Something might happen to you, and instead of saying maybe I'm not worthy, maybe something is wrong with me, you can sort of reframe it to say that experience happened. I don't know why that person did what they did. I don't know why that person felt the need to do that, and that's their choice, right? But I understand that it's not personal. Like, it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them. And I can't allow their actions to continue to have power over my life, right? That's what I mean by reframing the experience, right? And I think very often, we sort of don't use our experiences in the right way. I think once you look back at your life, look back at your experiences, and you sort of say to yourself, what can I take away from this experience? What is it that I can learn? As hard as that is, right? And that's really hard for us to say, right? Because in the moment when you're experiencing all the emotions that you're experiencing, then as a cool as breeze, it's kind of hard to see anything positive. It's kind of hard for us to see, you know, what we can take away positively from that experience. But if we sort of allow ourselves to shift our focus to, you know, what this person did to us and shift it to what can we take away from the experience, then I think we'll begin to experience that experience in a different way, right? And we'll truly begin to reclaim our power. It's kind of cliche to say everything that happens to you in life doesn't happen to you, but it happens for you. But it's true. Everything that happens in life is for our better good. As harsh as it seems, it truly is, right? I can sort of look back at my life and see some of the things that happened to me in my life, from losing people to negative experiences with people. And the more I live and the more knowledge and wisdom I gain, the more I'm able to sort of step outside the emotions affiliated with that experience and truly ask myself, how did this experience shape me? Or how can I use the lessons from this experience to move forward in my life, right? I think when you reference the past as a way of moving forward, that's when you get the best out of your experiences, right? But if you reference the past and use the past to judge yourself in the present, that's truly when you keep yourself stuck, right? It's always our perception. It truly is, it really is. But continuing to blame a person, continuing to be stuck on that experience in a negative way, continuing to say to yourself, my life is how it is because of these people, because of this person, you're only denying yourself of your power to move forward. Whenever you give someone the responsibility, you also give them the power, right? And how can you move forward in your life if you think you're powerless? I think a lot of us feel as if we're powerless. A lot of us look at ourselves and we think we're these powerless beings that things just happen to, right? And to a large extent, a lot of things we have no control over. But what we do have control is our perception. What we do have control over is the way we allow ourselves to interpret things, perceive things, right? What we do have power over, are the stories that we tell ourselves about our experiences. That's what we do have power over, right? That's the power that we have. But we're not powerless. We don't even realize how powerful we are because we spend so much of our lives feeling powerless, you know, because of actions of other people or the stories that we tell ourselves. But the moment you begin to realize that your life is always in your hands, the moment you begin to realize power is always in your hands, and that's when you truly begin to reframe your experiences. That's when you take responsibility for your life. And in taking responsibility for your life, you take power over your life, right? But that person is never truly going to come back into your life and fix things. They can't, right? A person might come to you and apologize and say, oh, I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for what I did. But at the end of the day, it's your life and it's your responsibility to take control over your life, right? It's your life and they can't fix your life. You have to be the one that fixes your life. As hard as it is, you have to realize that power is always in your hands. There's no point in continuing to blame a particular person for how your life is in this moment. You have to take responsibility for your life. You have to be the light that your life needs, right? You have to take the certain actions that is in the betterment of your life, right? It's all up to you, it's always in your hands. But the more you blame, the more you give responsibilities to something outside of you, you never truly recognize that the power that you have within. You never truly recognize that the fact that you are powerful, right? Power is always in your hands. Even in the times when you sort of feel powerless, you're still powerful, right? I remember reading this book, and I made a video about it called The Magician's Way by William Whitecloud. If you haven't read that book, definitely I recommend picking it up. And in the book, the author says, your feeling of powerlessness is a reaction to your power. Whenever you feel powerless, those feelings don't speak truth, right? It's sort of like when you have pain in a certain part of your body, that pain is signaling to you that there's something within your body that is out of alignment. Your body at this particular time isn't in homeostasis, right? That's literally what that pain is saying. And in the same way, whenever we experience negative emotions, in the same way, whenever we feel powerless, it's really only an indicator that we are out of alignment. It's really only an indicator that we're turning our backs on our power, right? Negative emotions, negative feelings, they're always working for us. They're always signaling to us that there's something that we need to pay attention to. They're always signaling to us that, you know, we're out of alignment. That's really what they are, right? So you have to perceive your feelings in a different way. Instead of thinking that they speak truth, you have to think that maybe they're guiding you to reclaiming something that you've turned your back on. right? So you're not powerless, right? You always hold power over your life. And reclaiming power over your life begins with taking responsibility for your life. You can't keep blaming everyone else. You can't keep blaming your experiences. You have to reclaim your power. You have to take back responsibility for your life. Because if you don't, you're only going to keep stuck. If you don't, you're only going to keep yourself stagnant in a place in which you're not moving forward and you're not living, right? You have to understand that life is meant to be lived. You know, sure, sometimes certain experiences can be difficult, but all of that is part of this thing that we call life. And all our experiences, whether good and bad, right, especially the bad ones, are truly meant for us to grow. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel a bit tired today. Kind of feel a bit under the weather for some reason. I just got from the gym and I decided to make this video. So probably was a bit low energy on this video. Not that I'm typically a high energy person regardless, but today is one of them days when I feel rather low on energy. But that's okay, right? You know, you're never truly gonna be at your best and never gonna feel at your best every day of the week and every second of the day. There are gonna be times when you don't feel as good, and that's okay. But even at the times when you don't feel your best, still see it as the best, right? In the sense that you understand that it's all a part of this thing that we call life. And everything that we experience, everything that we go through, everything that we feel, every experience that we have, all of it is working for us, right? But our perception and how we allow ourselves to experience those experiences and the stories that we tell ourselves about our experiences, those are the things that shape the way we move forward and shape the way in which we approach life, right? So yeah, stop thinking you're powerless. Stop blaming people for the way your life is. The only way to reclaim your life, the only way to regain power over your life is by taking responsibility for your life. That's one of the biggest and the most important things that you can truly do. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here with me. Once again, go outside, experience life, experience nature. And it was nice speaking to y'all. Nice being here. See y'all in the next one. Peace and blessings.